What happens when the weakest boy in an empire is claimed by 10 women feared as living legends? Xiao Feng learned the answer on the same day his fiancée tried to erase his dignity. For 16 years, he had lived in the Tianyuan continent with memories of another world. He had entered this life as an infant and grown up inside the ruling family of Star Language City. His father governed the city, his mother protected the household, and both loved him without condition. That love mattered because Xiao Feng possessed the worst cultivation talent anyone around him had ever seen. Tianyuan was a world where martial strength decided status, wealth, safety, and even basic respect. Warriors climbed through yellow, mystic, earth, and heaven ranks, with 9 levels inside every rank. Beyond those stages stood even greater realms, that eventually reached the legendary martial god level. Prodigies split mountains, crossed the sky, and turned ancient techniques into forces of nature. Xiao Feng could not even create the first thread of internal energy. He had trained for 10 focused years and failed at the same starting point every single time. As the city lord's son, nobody openly mocked him while standing before his family. Behind closed doors, however, people described him as a handsome young master with no future. Xiao Feng heard enough whispers to understand exactly how the city measured his worth. He could endure ridicule aimed at himself, but he hated seeing concern in his parents' eyes. His father still searched for rare herbs that might repair a talent everyone else considered hopeless. His mother still praised him as though persistence alone made him worthy of pride. Their faith left Xiao Feng grateful, ashamed, and determined not to become bitter. One night, while he stared at the ceiling, a strange warmth spread across his chest. A small bead he had carried since birth began glowing inside its iron container. The bead had followed him from his previous life and remained silent for 16 years. Xiao Feng had tested it with blood, spiritual perception, pleading threats, and endless patience. Nothing had ever happened, so he had eventually treated it like a useless marble. That night, the light became fierce enough to illuminate his entire bedroom. Before Xiao Feng could react, the bead broke free and drilled directly into his forehead. The shock made him cry out, bringing both parents rushing into the room. He hid the truth and claimed a nightmare had startled him awake. His parents accepted the excuse, though his father remained worried about the next day's banquet. The gathering would formally confirm Xiao Feng's engagement to Lu Shiyu of the Lu family. Lu Shiyu was only 15, yet she had already reached mystic rank level 9. Her talent made her the brightest young genius in Star Language City. Beside her, Xiao Feng looked like a broken training dummy placed beside a soaring phoenix. The engagement existed because Xiao Feng's father had once saved Lu Tiangxiang's life. During that rescue, City Lord Xiao destroyed his own Dantian and permanently damaged his cultivation. The Lu family had promised marriage as repayment for a debt that could never truly be repaid. Several days before the banquet, the Xiao family had offered to cancel everything quietly. They wanted Lu Shiyu to choose her future without publicly shaming other household. Lu Tiangxiang refused and insisted that his family would honor the old promise. Xiao Feng understood that Lu Shiyu disliked him, but he respected the decision to avoid conflict. After his parents left, he focused inward and searched for the bead inside his mind. A simple message appeared, identifying the object as something called the dream bead. Its stated purpose was to assist its owner with dreaming. Xiao Feng nearly laughed at the absurdly unimpressive description. He had expected an ancient inheritance, a divine technique, or at least a cure for his talent. Instead, the mysterious artifact apparently offered better sleep. In frustration, Xiao Feng joked that it should bring the 10 supreme holy maidens into his dream. He imagined living one perfect night beside the most unreachable women in the great Xia Empire. Then he closed his eyes and allowed exhaustion to pull him into sleep. The dream bead answered far more seriously than Xiao Feng expected. Inside the dream, one night expanded into an entire lifetime lasting 1,000 years. The dream began with the same weak body, the same family, and the same blocked cultivation. Then fortune changed, opportunities appeared, and Xiao Feng rose through every martial realm. He crossed forbidden lands, survived ancient ruins, and stood against enemies that threatened continents. Eventually, he became the sole supreme ruler of the entire Tianyuan continent. The 10 holy maidens also entered that dream and shared every century beside him. They fought with him, trusted him, loved him, and became his wives. With Xiao Feng's help, all 10 women reached the martial goddess realm. Their final night in the dream ended with a wedding that sealed 1,000 years of devotion. Morning arrived, and Xiao Feng opened his eyes feeling rested beyond anything he had known. He sensed that something enormous had happened, but every clear memory vanished immediately. 1,000 years of struggle, love, and triumph disappeared behind an empty wall in his mind. Unable to recall a single useful detail, Xiao Feng dismissed the experience and prepared for the banquet. Across the empire, however, 10 other women awakened with completely different results. Each supreme holy maiden remembered the entire shared lifetime with perfect clarity. They remembered Xiao Feng's kindness, his sacrifices, their battles, and their marriage. They also remembered his present identity as the young lord of Star Language City. Their bodies had not gained the dream's full power, but their auras shifted toward martial god intensity. Every holy maiden reached the same conclusion without speaking to the others. The dream had felt too complete, too consistent, and too real to ignore. They learned that Xiao Feng's engagement banquet would take place that very day. 5 holy maidens lived in the northern territories and immediately flew toward Star Language City. The other 5 began the much longer journey from the southern side of the empire. Meanwhile, Xiao Feng washed his face, dressed carefully, and believed he had enjoyed ordinary sleep. He had no idea that 10 of the empire's most dangerous women were coming to claim him. The Star Language Grand Restaurant filled with nobles, warriors, merchants, and powerful local families. Some guests came to honor the city lord, while others came only for food and gossip. Everyone understood the uncomfortable contrast between the engaged pair. Xiao Feng remained a martial apprentice who could not produce internal energy. Lu Shiyu stood near the peak of mystic rank and carried the pride of her entire family. Polite smiles covered a room full of silent judgment. City Lord Xiao welcomed Lu Tianxiang as though their old friendship had survived every strain. Lu Tianxiang returned the greeting with practiced warmth and carefully hidden calculation. For several minutes, the banquet appeared normal. Then Lu Shiyu stepped onto the entertainment stage and called for everyone's attention. Her voice remained cold as she announced that the engagement would end immediately. She claimed their personalities were incompatible and suggested Xiao Feng would find someone more suitable. The restaurant fell so silent that even the smallest movement sounded loud. Xiao Feng had expected rejection, but he had not expected a public spectacle. The Xiao family had already offered the Lu family a private and honorable escape. Lu Tianxiang had rejected that offer only to stage this humiliation before the entire city. Xiao Feng realized the banquet had never been intended to celebrate an engagement. It had been designed as a platform for the Lu family's rise. City Lord Xiao demanded to know whether Lu Tianxiang had planned the announcement. Lu Tianxiang calmly blamed his daughter's personal choice, while pretending to respect her independence. City Lord Xiao reminded him of the destroyed Danshan and the life debt between them. Lu Tianxiang answered that his daughter's future could not be sacrificed for an old obligation. His words sounded reasonable until everyone remembered the rejected private cancellation. The Lu family had chosen maximum humiliation because quiet decency offered no political advantage. Lady Xiao hurried to her son's side, afraid the public rejection had broken him. Xiao Feng assured her that he could endure the insult. His only regret was seeing both parents embarrassed because of his weakness. Lady Xiao responded with warmth and reminded him that appearance alone would attract many women. As Lu Shiyu passed, she coldly dismissed the value of his handsome face. The final insult pushed Xiao Feng to answer instead of remaining silent. He reminded the room that Lu Shiyu had once followed him everywhere during childhood. She had called him Brother Feng and promised that wind and rain belonged together. She had even claimed she would serve beside him forever. The guests immediately understood that her contempt had not existed when they were younger. Lu Shiyu's face burned as the embarrassing memories spread through the silent hall. To recover control, she revealed that she had advanced to Earth rank level 1. She also announced her acceptance as the direct disciple of Cloud Mountain Sect's Grand Elder. That revelation transformed the banquet from a breakup into a political declaration. Cloud Mountain Sect was a powerful mid-tier organization led by a martial venerable. Its backing could allow the Lu family to dominate Star Language City and surrounding regions. Xiao Feng finally saw the complete strategy behind the public rejection. The Lu family was using his disgrace to advertise its new power. A mysterious elder standing beside Lu Shiyu then stepped forward. He was the Cloud Mountain Grand Elder, a heaven rank level 9 martial ancestor. His presence alone made veteran warriors lower their heads. He ordered Lu Shiyu to leave and dismissed Xiao Feng as a worthless distraction. Then he warned the young lord to remain inside his insignificant city. Xiao Feng clenched his fists until his knuckles cracked. He wanted to answer, but the difference in strength made defiance suicidal. The Grand Elder could kill the Xiao family before anyone in the room understood what happened. Xiao Feng swallowed his anger because survival mattered more than empty pride. Even with an adult soul, however, the humiliation cut deeply. He had been rejected, mocked, and threatened in front of everyone his father governed. The crowd watched the supposed waste reach the lowest moment of his life. Then a woman's voice swept through the restaurant with enough force to stop every breath. She demanded to know who had dared humiliate her husband. Every guest turned toward the entrance, and every gaze eventually shifted back to Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng himself stood frozen, because he had never married anyone in this life. A breathtaking young woman entered in black clothing trimmed with soft fox fur. Her porcelain skin, crimson lips, and enchanting eyes made the entire hall seem dull around her. More frightening than her beauty was the murderous pressure spreading from every step. Strong warriors struggled to breathe as she crossed the room. Her eyes ignored the nobles, the Lu family, and the Cloud Mountain elder. They settled only on Xiao Feng, carrying devotion he could not understand. Lady Xiao quietly asked when her son had found such an extraordinary wife. Xiao Feng could only admit that he had no idea who the woman was. The Cloud Mountain Grand Elder tried to block her pressure and demanded her identity. She ignored the question and asked whether he had insulted her husband. Lu Xiaoyu quickly insisted that Xiao Feng was merely the talentless man she had discarded. The woman's expression turned colder than winter night. She rejected the insult and declared that Xiao Feng should have been the one to abandon Lu Xiaoyu. Then she ordered Lu Xiaoyu to kneel and apologize. Lu Xiaoyu attempted to protest, but a slap sent her crashing across the stage. Nobody saw the woman's hand move. Blood touched Lu Xiaoyu's lips as a bright mark spread across her cheek. The mysterious beauty repeated the command with absolute calm. In that instant, the balance of power inside Star Language City changed forever. Lu Xiaoyu stared from the floor, unable to believe anyone would strike Cloud Mountain Sect's new disciple. Her parents rushed forward, but the stranger's aura stopped them before they reached their daughter. The Grand Elder warned that humiliating his disciple meant challenging the entire sect. The woman laughed at the idea that a mid-tier sect deserved fear. Enraged, the Grand Elder released the full pressure of a Heaven Rank Level 9 martial ancestor. Tables trembled, guests stumbled backward, and weaker warriors nearly collapsed beneath the weight. Xiao Feng stepped forward despite his weakness and urged the unknown woman to leave safely. She turned toward him, and her murderous expression softened into a radiant smile. She explained that nobody was allowed to disgrace the man she considered her husband. The tenderness in her voice confused Xiao Feng more than the violence surrounding them. He could not remember meeting her, yet she looked at him like someone returning home. The Grand Elder gathered his power and prepared the Cloud Mountain hand. As the enormous energy palm formed above the hall, the woman placed herself between danger and Xiao Feng. The Cloud Mountain hand crashed downward with enough force to flatten an ordinary building. A transparent shield rose around the woman and covered Xiao Feng's entire family. The giant palm struck, shattered every nearby table, and sent cracks through the restaurant floor. The shield did not flicker. The Grand Elder stared as though the laws of cultivation had betrayed him. Only a true martial venerable should have blocked his strongest technique so casually. Greed briefly replaced shock as he imagined stealing the mysterious defensive art. The woman noticed his expression and announced that it was her turn. Her fox-like eyes glowed red as she ordered him to kneel. The terrifying martial ancestor dropped to both knees with a heavy thud. Nobody understood how a single command had erased his resistance. Lu Xiaoyu pulled at her master's arm, but his body remained fixed to the floor. Xiao Feng wondered whether the woman possessed the power to turn words into reality. She playfully denied reaching such a legendary level. Her technique was seduction magic strong enough to control the elder's mind. Then she offered to demonstrate it on Xiao Feng. The sight of the drooling elder made him refuse immediately. Her laughter sounded light, but the entire room remained terrified of her. When the elder recovered and stood, humiliation burned across his face. He demanded her name and tried to protect his mind against a second attack. The woman merely repeated the order to kneel. Even prepared, he crashed back down before completing a single technique. To the guests, it looked as though reality itself obeyed her voice. She finally remembered that Xiao Feng still did not know her identity. With a graceful bow, she introduced herself as Yuxia of the Celestial Fox Holy Land. The name froze the Cloud Mountain Grand Elder more completely than any martial technique. Celestial Fox Holy Land was one of the 10 supreme holy lands of the Great Xia Empire. Yuxia was not an ordinary disciple from that unreachable organization. She was its first holy maiden and leading candidate to become the next Holy Land Master. Her celestial fox charm body was a sacred constitution seen only once in generations. At 15, she had already reached the martial venerable realm. The Grand Elder stood 2 complete realms beneath her. His earlier arrogance vanished, and he bowed until his forehead nearly touched the floor. Lu Xiaoyu refused to believe that a supreme holy maiden could value Xiao Feng. She accused Yuxia of being an impostor. The Grand Elder slapped his own disciple before Yuxia could move again. He understood that one foolish sentence might bring destruction upon Cloud Mountain Sect. He begged forgiveness and called Xiao Feng a respected young brother. Minutes earlier, the same man had repeatedly described him as waste. The reversal sent silent disbelief through every guest. Yuxia looked at Lu Xiaoyu, and the Grand Elder understood the unspoken command. He ordered his disciple to kneel and apologize to Xiao Feng. Lu Xiaoyu's pride resisted until fear finally forced her down. She delivered the apology through clenched teeth and tear-filled eyes. Yuxia decided the words lacked sincerity and kept both master and disciple kneeling. Then she turned to Xiao Feng with the bright expression of someone seeking praise. She asked whether she had defended him well. Xiao Feng could only offer an awkward word of thanks. Yuxia touched his forehead and accepted that small response with genuine delight. She linked her arm through his and pressed close as though they had never been separated. Xiao Feng's thoughts scattered beneath the warmth, perfume, and impossible situation. Yuxia noticed that the original banquet guests were still present. She suggested replacing Lu Xiaoyu and holding a new engagement ceremony immediately. The proposal stunned the restaurant more than the collapsed Grand Elder. Lu Xiaoyu remained kneeling while the empire's greatest fox beauty offered to take her place. Xiao Feng tried to explain that they had only just met. Yuxia replied that they could become acquainted after the engagement. He reminded her that no family from a supreme holy land would approve such a match. She calmly proposed acting first and reporting the marriage later. That reckless confidence made every elder in the room question her sanity. Xiao Feng still believed there had to be a mistake. He was a powerless martial apprentice, while Yuxia stood near the peak of her generation. No rational force would accept that difference. Yuxia cupped his face and asked him to call her his wife. His mouth refused to form the intimate word. He compromised by using a shorter name, which left her pouting but satisfied. She tightened her hold and demanded a clear answer about marriage. When Xiao Feng mentioned the watching crowd, Yuxia asked who dared continue looking. Hundreds of guests immediately turned toward the walls. For several seconds, the restaurant became a room full of powerful people studying wallpaper. Yuxia leaned closer, leaving Xiao Feng with nowhere to retreat. Before his weakening resolve produced an answer, snow began falling indoors. The temperature dropped so quickly that wine froze inside cups. Warriors wrapped their arms around themselves as frost climbed across broken furniture. Strangely, the cold avoided Xiao Feng and his parents. An invisible warmth protected them from the supernatural winter. Yuxia looked irritated rather than surprised. She recognized the aura and complained that another woman had arrived too quickly. The Grand Elder timidly requested permission to leave during the distraction. Yuxia ordered him to remain kneeling without even looking in his direction. Lu Xiaoyu gathered enough courage to demand why Xiao Feng deserved such attention. Yuxia released raw martial venerable pressure and slammed her back to the floor. Blood touched Lu Xiaoyu's mouth, finally silencing her argument. A cold female voice then echoed through the restaurant. The newcomer called Yuxia a demoness and ordered her to release their husband. A blue-haired girl entered wearing a short blue dress and an unreadable expression. Each step left a perfect frostmark beneath her heels. Her beauty appeared gentle at first glance, but the cold surrounding her reached into bone. The single word husband made every guest stare at Xiao Feng again. He now had one holy maiden attached to his right arm and another claiming him from the doorway. The blue-haired girl glared at Yuxia with open hostility. Yuxia responded by squeezing Xiao Feng's arm more tightly. Xiao Feng stood between them like fragile glass placed between colliding mountains. He begged them to avoid fighting inside the crowded restaurant. Yuxia immediately softened because her husband had expressed a preference. The newcomer flashed to Xiao Feng's left side and claimed his other arm. Warm fox perfume pressed against one side while winter-cool softness held the other. Xiao Feng became afraid to move even a finger. The blue-haired girl dismissed Yuxia's claim that an engagement had already been accepted. She declared that matters of love did not follow first arrival or polite lines. If necessary, she would simply steal Xiao Feng away. Lu Xiaoyu watched two supreme beauties argue over the man she had publicly rejected. Her humiliation turned into a desperate demand for the newcomer's identity. The blue-haired girl recognized Lu Xiaoyu immediately. With one small movement, she summoned ice from the floor. The frost wrapped Lu Xiaoyu from head to toe and sealed her inside a transparent prison. Lu Xiaoyu could not move, scream, or protect herself from the piercing cold. Her parents touched the ice and recoiled as the freezing energy burned their hands. They begged the newcomer to understand that ending an unwanted engagement was not a crime. The blue-haired girl agreed that a private cancellation would have been acceptable. Then she described the Xiao family's earlier visit and the Lu family's deliberate refusal. She exposed the banquet as a planned act of humiliation rather than an honest separation. The guests began admitting that her judgment was completely accurate. The newcomer stated that she could forgive blindness, but not calculated cruelty. Then she left Lu Xiaoyu frozen as a small lesson and turned back toward Xiao Feng. The blue-haired newcomer finally noticed the Cloud Mountain Grand Elder kneeling nearby. He introduced himself quickly, hoping his sect name might earn safer treatment. She asked whether he had also insulted her husband. His hopeful expression disappeared before he could invent an excuse. A spear of frost shot across the room, forcing him to retreat with all his strength. He escaped the first strike but could not outrun the second. Ice formed behind him and swallowed his entire body in a single breath. The Heaven Rank Level 9 martial ancestor became another motionless sculpture. Every warrior in the restaurant understood that the newcomer stood at martial venerable level. Then she looked at Xiao Feng with bright eyes and asked whether her performance had impressed him. The sudden change from executioner to affectionate girl nearly broke his concentration. He praised her reflexively, and her expression warmed at once. Yuxia dismissed the display as ordinary, beginning another argument across Xiao Feng's chest. The blue-haired girl ignored her and requested an intimate form of address. Xiao Feng avoided the word wife and asked for her actual name instead. She introduced herself as Lin Wanqing, first holy maiden of the extreme ice holy land. That was the second supreme holy land represented in one ruined restaurant. The guests struggled to understand why two untouchable women wanted the same powerless boy. Lin Wanqing declared herself Xiao Feng's future wife with complete certainty. Yuxia insisted that she had arrived first and therefore held priority. Lin Wanqing replied that affection had no waiting order. Xiao Feng politely asked both women to release his arms. They refused together and squeezed more firmly. He surrendered to his role as the world's most nervous human pillow. Behind him, Lady Xiao whispered that both girls seemed wonderful. City Lord Xiao warned that women of such status might have hidden motives. Lady Xiao pointed out that their family possessed nothing worth stealing. The two holy maidens heard every whispered word and smiled at the discussion. Their amusement made Xiao Feng wish the damaged floor would swallow him. A deep announcement soon came from the entrance. Yin Shan, master of Cloud Mountain sect, had arrived to pay respect to Yuxia. He was a genuine martial venerable and the strongest figure connected to the Lu family's new alliance. Guests expected an explosive confrontation between sect master and holy maidens. Instead, Yin Shan entered, saw his frozen grand elder, and bowed carefully. Yuxia barely acknowledged him because she was negotiating pet names with Xiao Feng. He produced a spatial ring containing 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones. The fortune was large enough to transform every major family in Star Language City. Yin Shan offered it as compensation for his grand elder's offense. Yuxia corrected him and explained that the apology belonged to her husband. The sect master swallowed his pride and bowed directly to Xiao Feng. Now a martial venerable stood before him offering wealth beyond the city's imagination. Lady Xiao advised her son to accept before the situation became more complicated. City Lord Xiao worried that such treasure would attract thieves after the holy maidens left. Yuxia promised that refusing would only make Yin Shan more frightened. Xiao Feng finally accepted the ring and felt its enormous weight despite its tiny size. Lin Wanqing then asked where her own apology was. Yin Shan learned that she had frozen his grand elder and nearly lost his composure. He realized the rescue message had failed to mention a second supreme holy maiden. With visible pain, he produced another ring containing 100,000 low-grade spirit stones. Lin Wanqing also directed the apology toward Xiao Feng. Yin Shan bowed a second time and placed another fortune in the young lord's hands. With both payments accepted, Yin Shan begged permission to leave. Yuxia and Lin Wanqing dismissed him at the same moment. Lin Wanqing also released Lu Shiyu from the frozen prison. Even in that condition, she glared at Xiao Feng as though he had planned every punishment. Xiao Feng remembered that his family had offered her a clean path away from the engagement. She had rejected mercy, chosen spectacle, and received consequences she never expected. Lu Tianxiang helped his daughter stand and prepared to leave the restaurant. A blazing voice suddenly announced that another wife had arrived. The cold vanished beneath a wave of heat that melted every patch of frost. Guests who had been shivering moments earlier began sweating through their formal clothing. Yuxia and Lin Wanqing tightened their hold on Xiao Feng at the same time. They recognized the incoming rival before anyone saw her face. A red-haired girl entered wearing a flowing crimson dress. Heat shimmered around her body, and her glowing eyes resembled living flame. Unlike the first two women, she skipped toward Xiao Feng with unrestrained excitement. Xiao Feng realized that both arms were already occupied. He wondered what part of him the third woman planned to claim. Lu Shiyu's expression twisted as another unmatched beauty focused entirely on Xiao Feng. The red-haired girl stopped when she noticed the former fiancé. She confirmed Lu Shiyu's identity and examined her with open disappointment. Then she observed that even her personal maid possessed greater beauty. She also dismissed Earth rank level 1 as an embarrassing level for a supposed genius. According to the newcomer, Lu Shiyu lacked the qualifications to carry Xiao Feng's shoes. Lu Shiyu still insisted that she remained superior to Xiao Feng. A fiery backhand sent her crashing to the floor once again. The red-haired girl refused to allow anyone to compare themselves with her husband. Lu Shiyu's face now carried marks from several different punishments. Her mother screamed that the attack had no justification. The newcomer answered that public humiliation of Xiao Feng deserved far more than a slap. She remembered a future inside the dream that Xiao Feng could not recall. In that dream, Lu Shiyu used Cloud Mountain sect to seize control of Star Language City. The Xiao family lost its home and wandered without protection. That remembered future made the holy maiden's anger far deeper than the present guests understood. Lu Tianxiang attempted to take his family away. The red-haired girl stopped him with a voice hot enough to silence the entire room. She asked whether Lu Shiyu truly belonged to Cloud Mountain sect. Yin Shan, who had nearly reached the exit, immediately denied the connection. The Grand Elder expelled Lu Shiyu from his tutelage before anyone could question him. He declared that she had never formally become a member of the sect. Lu Xiao's brief rise ended before she had even visited Cloud Mountain. The political foundation behind the public breakup vanished in a few panicked sentences. She asked her master how he could abandon her so easily. He refused to meet her eyes because survival mattered more than a new disciple. The red-haired girl asked Yin Shan whether he intended to remember her name for revenge. He denied the thought and tried to escape without further explanation. She introduced herself anyway as Zhao Lingxin of the Blazing Fire Holy Land. Then she declared Xiaofeng under that Holy Land's protection. If Cloud Mountain sect retaliated, she promised to burn into ashes. Yin Shan and the Grand Elder nearly stumbled through the doorway. The restaurant now contained 3 first holy maidens from 3 supreme holy lands. Xiaofeng had gained 2 fortunes, 3 marriage claims, and no useful answers. Zhao Lingxin turned back toward the Lu family and requested compensation equal to Cloud Mountain's payment. Lu Tiangxiang's pale face admitted that his family could never produce such wealth. Zhao Lingxin accepted the answer and summoned a circular wall of fire. The flames surrounded Lu Xiyu and her parents without burning their clothing. Instead, unbearable heat passed through fabric and attacked their bodies directly. Their internal energy drained rapidly as they struggled to protect themselves. Lu Xiyu suffered worst because Lin Wanqing's extreme frost still remained inside her. Fire burned her from outside while sacred ice froze her from within. Her screams filled the restaurant, but Zhao Lingxin called it another small lesson. Every guest understood that survival did not mean freedom from suffering. Xiaofeng felt no joy in torture, yet he could not forget his father's sacrifice. The Lu family had been offered honor and deliberately chosen betrayal. Zhao Lingxin finally turned away from the flames and smiled brightly at Xiaofeng. The terrifying fire goddess disappeared behind the expression of an affectionate girl. She opened both arms and rushed forward for a full embrace. Yuxia and Lin Wanqing shouted together and blocked her with simultaneous palm strikes. The collision threw broken furniture across the restaurant and forced Zhao Lingxin backward. 3 supreme holy maidens now stood ready to fight over the weakest young man in the city. Zhao Lingxin warned that only concern for Xiaofeng prevented her from burning both rivals. Yuxia threatened permanent hypnosis, while Lin Wanqing promised an eternal ice prison. Their combined anger made the weakest person present the only thing protecting the entire city. Xiaofeng became both the most guarded and most endangered man in the restaurant. Zhao Lingxin proposed a fight without internal energy or martial techniques. The loser would abandon her claim and return home. Yuxia cracked her knuckles and Lin Wanqing accepted without hesitation. They finally released Xiaofeng and formed a triangle among the shattered tables. Guests watched 3 supreme women prepare for an ordinary fistfight over a martial apprentice. Xiaofeng begged them to remember their dignity and solve the dispute peacefully. Yuxia and Lin Wanqing immediately lowered their hands because he disliked fighting. Zhao Lingxin, however, noticed the affectionate nicknames he had given the others. Her bright expression collapsed into trembling lips and suspiciously perfect tears. She asked why they received intimate names while she remained addressed formally. Xiaofeng tried to calm her without creating another argument. The moment he called her Xiaoling, every tear vanished and sunlight returned to her face. Yuxia and Lin Wanqing recognized the performance and rolled their eyes. Xiaofeng did not know that all 3 women understood his weakness toward crying girls. 1,000 dream years had taught them exactly how to influence him. Zhao Lingxin immediately suggested skipping engagement and holding a wedding that same day. Yuxia demanded first place and Lin Wanqing rejected both claims. The 3 women then revealed that each had brought a dowry. Xiaofeng realized their journey had not been impulsive. They had prepared treasures before flying thousands of miles to reach him. His mother finally intervened and invited everyone to sit, drink tea, and speak calmly. All 3 holy maidens transformed into perfectly polite young women before Lady Xiao. Yuxia seized the teapot and insisted on pouring. Lin Wanqing pulled out Lady Xiao's chair with careful respect. Zhao Lingxin presented the cup with both hands and her sweetest smile. Lady Xiao looked happier than if she had discovered a mountain of spirit stones. City Lord Xiao watched 3 city-destroying women compete to serve his wife. Across the room, the Lu family suffered inside the ring of fire and watched in silence. A violent crack of thunder suddenly shook the building. The clear sky darkened as black clouds swallowed the sun above Star Language City. Purple lightning spread across the heavens like glowing roots. Yuxia, Lin Wanqing, and Zhao Lingxin recognized the 4th arrival at once. They complained that the newcomer had chosen an unnecessarily dramatic entrance. A figure rode the lightning through the storm without harming a single building below. Xiaofeng stared upward and privately admitted that the display looked magnificent. The newcomer crossed thousands of miles with a speed only martial venerables could achieve. She entered through a window because an ordinary doorway apparently felt too limiting. Purple eyes scanned the restaurant until they found Xiaofeng. Her regal expression instantly became a radiant smile. She appeared beside him in a flash and wrapped herself around his arm. Then she asked him to call her his wife. Yuxia, Lin Wanqing, and Zhao Lingxin rose together and demanded that she release him. The newcomer observed that all three rivals had arrived before her. She blamed distance rather than speed and refused to surrender her claim. Xiao Feng attempted to escape the tension by commenting on the weather. The absurd remark came while thunder still shook the sky outside. Lady Xiao again reminded the women that her son disliked fighting. All four sat immediately and answered with the obedience of well-trained daughters. The newcomer's attention then shifted toward Lu Xiaoyu inside the weakening fire ring. Electric arcs appeared in her pupils when she heard what had happened at the banquet. She walked toward the injured girl and inspected her without sympathy. According to her judgment, Lu Xiaoyu lacked both beauty and talent. She could not understand how such a person had dared publicly reject Xiao Feng. Lu Xiaoyu demanded the stranger's name through cracked lips. The newcomer introduced herself as Wang Yue of the Purple Thunder Holy Land. A newly arrived sect leader immediately bowed and identified her as the first holy maiden. He was Niu Zhan, master of the regional Crouching Bull sect. Unlike Yin Shan, he recognized danger before speaking carelessly. Wang Yue barely acknowledged the bow and returned her focus to Lu Xiaoyu. Exhausted by repeated punishment, Lu Xiaoyu told the fourth holy maiden to finish quickly. Wang Yue formed a cage of purple lightning around her. A bolt struck, throwing Lu Xiaoyu's body into violent spasms. Her mother dropped to her knees and begged for mercy. Wang Yue promised that the punishment would not kill her. The phrase small lesson returned for the fourth time that morning. Each so-called lesson had brought freezing, burning, humiliation, or unbearable pain. The lightning cage shrank after every strike and left Lu Xiaoyu nowhere to hide. Wang Yue then faced Xiao Feng with complete tenderness. She advised him not to remain angry over someone unworthy of his attention. Xiao Feng admitted that most of his personal anger had already faded. His father's humiliation, however, still prevented him from stopping the punishment. Wang Yue praised his generosity and suddenly embraced his neck. She lunged toward his lips before he understood what she intended. Xiao Feng turned at the last instant, leaving her kiss on his cheek. The wet mark and public boldness made his entire face burn. Wang Yue ignored the reaction and attempted a second kiss. Xiao Feng raised one hand defensively and asked her to stop. Yuxia, Lin Wanqing, and Zhao Lingxin finally united against a common enemy. One grabbed each arm while the third wrapped Wang Yue around the waist. Together, they lifted her away from Xiao Feng and threw her across the room. She landed gracefully and objected that they had interrupted a moment with her husband. The other three accused her of shamelessly cutting into an established order. Zhao Lingxin even declared that there was now a queue. Four supreme holy maidens began arguing about proper waiting rules for marrying Xiao Feng. The guests no longer knew whether to feel fear, disbelief, or envy. Lightning, frost, flame, and seductive pressure gathered around the four rivals. Xiao Feng begged them to sit before the restaurant disappeared from the map. Lady Zhao reinforced the request with one calm invitation to tea. Every holy maiden obeyed her immediately. They arranged themselves around the table and competed through perfect manners instead of violence. Winning Lady Xiao's approval might be easier than defeating every rival. Niu Zhan watched from the side, trying to understand Xiao Feng's impossible attraction. He considered hidden bodies, secret bloodlines, and divine constitutions. Every theory failed because Xiao Feng remained a martial apprentice at 16. A divine body should create faster progress, not complete stagnation. While the sect master struggled with the mystery, every sword in the room began vibrating. Blades rattled inside their sheaths and pulled against the hands of their owners. Even experienced swordsmen could not hold them still. One by one, the weapons tore free and flew through the restaurant. They arranged themselves in a perfect path stretching toward the entrance. A bridge of suspended swords formed above the damaged floor. Overwhelming sword intent rolled inward like an invisible ocean wave. Veteran warriors broke into cold sweat before the newcomer even appeared. The four-seated holy maidens turned toward the entrance with identical irritation. Xiao Feng already understood the pattern. Another beautiful woman would arrive, possess martial venerable strength, and call him husband. A flash of silver light landed on the first sword. A young woman in a white dress stepped onto the floating bridge. Long black hair moved behind her while sharp intent blazed within her round eyes. She crossed the weapon path like a queen walking through her own palace. When her gaze found Xiao Feng, all killing pressure vanished. Her stern face opened into a smile brighter than the sword light around her. She spoke the expected word with unmistakable affection. Xiao Feng heard husband for the fifth time before noon. Every stolen sword returned to its sheath at the same instant. Half of the Empire's northern holy maidens had now reached Star Language City. Yuxia muttered that the sword bridge was an obvious attempt to steal attention. Lin Wanqing and Zhao Lingxin agreed that the entrance had been excessively theatrical. Wang Yue defended her own storm as the superior display. Their jealousy nearly started another argument before Lady Xiao offered more tea. 4 feared holy maidens immediately returned to perfect posture. The sword woman ignored their complaints and moved directly towards Xiao Feng. She wrapped both arms around him in a full embrace. 4 chairs scraped backward as the other holy maidens rose with murderous expressions. The sword woman discovered their hostility and deliberately blew warm breath into Xiao Feng's ear. His entire body stiffened under the unexpected sensation. 4 voices promised her death at exactly the same moment. Lady Xiao calmly mentioned that her son preferred graceful women. The 4 rivals sat down again, smiling through clenched teeth. Yuxia tried to convince Lady Xiao that the newcomer behaved like a shameless fox spirit. The comparison sounded strange coming from the celestial fox holy maiden herself. Lady Xiao observed that every woman present had already clung to her son. While the others argued, the sword woman gently bit Xiao Feng's earlobe. His knees weakened, and he grabbed her waist to avoid falling. The sword woman's body briefly tensed because reality felt different from their shared dream. She recovered quickly, while Xiao Feng's thoughts disappeared completely. Zhao Lingxin proposed burning her. Lin Wangqing suggested freezing her before the flames began. Wang Yue added lightning to the plan. Yuxia volunteered hypnosis and an apology before the final punishment. The 4 rivals created a complete assassination sequence within seconds. Lady Xiao stopped them by repeating that Xiao Feng valued elegance. They painfully returned to their seats and folded their hands like disciplined students. The sword woman released Xiao Feng's ear and teased him about his hands around her waist. He removed them so quickly that he nearly lost his balance again. The last strike of Wang Yue's lightning cage finally released Lu Sheiyu. Her mother caught her exhausted body before she collapsed completely. The sword woman looked at the injured family and immediately understood that the others had punished them. A guest then noticed something everyone had overlooked. Each holy maiden already knew Xiao Feng, his parents, Lu Sheiyu, and the engagement details. Nobody inside the restaurant had explained any of those facts. The observation deepened Xiao Feng's suspicion that the women shared a hidden connection. The sword woman decided that earlier punishments did not replace her own judgment. She confronted Lu Tianxiang about City Lord Xiao's ruined Danshan. A family friend explained the old incident for every guest to hear. 10 years earlier, Lu Tianxiang needed a rare herb guarded by a powerful spirit beast. City Lord Xiao entered the wilderness to help him obtain it. During the battle, City Lord Xiao's Danshan suffered damage that never healed. His cultivation stopped progressing and slowly fell backward year after year. Lu Tianxiang gained the herb, completed his breakthrough pill, and enjoyed the benefits. The man who saved him paid the lifelong price. The restaurant's remaining sympathy for the Lu family vanished. The public rejection now looked even more cruel against that history. Xiao Feng felt anger return when he saw his father's sacrifice reduced to a political inconvenience. The sword woman released invisible sword intent around all 3 members of the Lu family. The pressure cut at body and spirit without leaving an obvious blade. Their screams filled the hall as the 5th punishment began. No guest stepped forward because everyone finally understood the depth of the betrayal. The sword woman turned back toward Xiao Feng and opened her arms for another embrace. This time he caught both wrists and kept a respectful distance. She pouted and repeated the familiar request to be called his wife. Then she introduced herself as Li Qingxiu of the Celestial Sword Holy Land. 5 first holy maidens now stood before Xiao Feng. They represented Celestial Fox, Extreme Ice, Blazing Fire, Purple Thunder, and Celestial Sword. Every northern supreme holy land had sent its brightest young woman to the same banquet. Xiao Feng tried to greet Li Qingxiu formally. She laughed because the dream had already given her 1,000 years of knowing him. He could not remember those years and settled on the nickname Xiao Zui. Li Qingxiu accepted the name with visible happiness. Xiao Feng guided her to the table beside the other 4 holy maidens. The gathering now resembled the most dangerous family tea party in the empire. Niu Zhan lingered respectfully in the background and avoided unnecessary words. The Lu family remained trapped inside Li Qingxiu's sword intent. Their cries slowly became another terrible sound beneath the conversation. Xiao Feng finally gathered the courage to ask the question consuming him. He thanked all 5 women for defending his parents and restoring the family's honor. Then he asked why supreme holy maidens had crossed the empire to marry a powerless stranger. 5 women of their status could not have arrived without a reason. Yuxia answered first and produced a spatial ring as her dowry. 3 pieces of clear spirit marrow floated above the table. Each piece could grow into a mid-grade spirit vein when buried in suitable ground. The wealth inside one future vein could support a family for generations. Yuxia also revealed 3 glowing jade bottles. The first contained 10 supreme-grade energy-gathering pills. Those pills could help a martial apprentice generate internal energy and become a true warrior. Xiao Feng had failed with weaker medicines for years. For the first time he saw a realistic path beyond the beginning stage. The second bottle held 4 supreme-grade breakthrough pills. One pill could overcome each major bottleneck on the road toward martial venerable. The third bottle contained something far more important to Xiao Feng. It held a Danshan reconstruction pill capable of restoring severe internal damage. City Lord Xiao stared at the bottle without breathing. For 10 years he had accepted that his sacrifice could never be reversed. The pill offered the return of his strength, dignity, and unfinished future. Xiao Feng's throat tightened as he looked at the father who had never blamed anyone. City Lord Xiao noticed his son's temptation and quietly shook his head. He would not allow Xiao Feng to accept a marriage out of guilt or filial pressure. That refusal only made Xiao Feng respect him more. Lin Wanqing then produced her own spatial ring. She offered the same collection of essential pills and spirit marrow. Her unique treasure was an extreme ice jade cushion. Cultivating upon it could increase training speed by 10 times. For ordinary warriors, that single object could erase decades of slow progress. Zhao Lingxin followed with matching medicine and a floating crimson lamp. The blazing fire protection lamp was an extreme-grade spirit artifact. When supplied with energy, it created a defensive shield of living flame. Star Language City did not possess even one ordinary spirit artifact. Wang Yue dismissed defensive tools and revealed a crackling purple fruit. The supreme-grade purple thunder fruit could transform Xiao Feng's physical constitution. After consuming it, lightning techniques would become stronger and easier to master. Li Qingxu presented an elegant sword carrying a quiet spiritual pulse. The Qingxu sword was an evolving offensive spirit artifact. It would grow alongside its owner instead of becoming useless at higher realms. Xiao Feng stared at 5 dowries and 5 hopeful expressions. He still had no memory of earning such absolute devotion. Each holy maiden insisted that her own gifts were the most valuable. Their competition quickly expanded from treasures into impossible promises. Li Qingxu offered the celestial sword sacred scripture as part of her dowry. The room fell silent because that saint-grade technique was her holy land's greatest secret. The other 4 immediately offered their own foundational sacred scriptures. Xiao Feng warned that privately giving away those techniques could bring 5 holy lands against him. All 5 women paused as they finally recognized the danger. Zhao Lingxin suggested stealing another holy land scripture instead of giving away her own. Wang Yue offered to steal Zhao Lingxin's technique in return. The others began planning exchanges with complete seriousness. Xiao Feng stopped the discussion before the most powerful young women in the empire became thieves. Lady Xiao watched the 5-way argument and offered the simplest possible solution. She suggested that all 5 holy maidens could marry her son together. The entire restaurant became silent enough to hear frightened breathing. City Lord Xiao stared at his wife as though she had invited 5 armies to attack. Xiao Feng stepped forward quickly and tried to describe the suggestion as a harmless joke. The holy maidens studied Lady Xiao with unreadable expressions. For several long seconds, nobody knew whether the Xiao family would survive. Yuxia finally smiled and agreed, provided she received the position of first wife. Lin Wanqing immediately challenged that condition. Zhao Lingxin declared that first place belonged to her. Wang Yue proposed deciding the rank through combat. Li Qingxu accepted the idea before Xiao Feng could protest. Half of the empire's supreme young women were willing to marry a boy who had never cultivated. Lu Tianxiang briefly hoped the suggestion would offend them enough to destroy the Xiao family. His hope collapsed when they began discussing wedding hierarchy instead. Lu Shiyu used her final strength to laugh at the holy maidens. Her father covered her mouth before the most insulting words escaped. The warning came too late. All 5 holy maidens released pressure at the same moment. Lu Shiyu flew across the restaurant and struck the wall with enough force to crack stone. She coughed blood and finally lost consciousness. The combined response made the boundary unmistakable. Nobody would insult the women who had chosen Xiao Feng. Lu Tianxiang grabbed his daughter and fled with his wife. The Lu family left without dignity backing or a single remaining ally. Every guest assumed the holy maidens had become silently furious. In reality, they were speaking privately through transmitted thoughts. Yuxia reminded the others that Xiao Feng still lacked a cultivation method he could use. Lin Wanqing believed their holy lands would soon summon them back for punishment. Zhao Lingxin wanted to prepare Xiao Feng before any forced departure. Wang Yue remembered where his first useful technique had appeared inside the dream. In that remembered future, Xiao Feng began his rise through the crouching bull sect's art. Li Qingxu suggested obtaining that method immediately. The women also remembered a greater inheritance hidden in the heavenly Dragon Mountain range. They agreed to search for it before the 5 southern holy maidens arrived. Before leaving, all 5 turned toward Nuzhan at once. The crouching bull sect master nearly jumped when their attention landed on him. Wang Yue asked him to approach without using his proper title. Nuzhan hurried over like a servant answering a royal summons. She explained that Xiao Feng needed the sect's foundational martial art. Then she asked whether giving it to her husband would create any difficulty. Nuzhan tried to mention Xiao Feng's age and non-existent cultivation. He immediately decided the technique was perfectly suitable. An ancient manual appeared in his hand. He presented the crouching bull art to Xiao Feng with both arms extended. The lower-tier transcendent grade technique could support cultivation to martial venerable level. Xiao Feng hesitated because receiving another sex foundation felt improper. Nuzhan insisted with a smile held together entirely by fear. Xiao Feng accepted while planning to return the manual after the holy maidens left. Nuzhan thanked him for ending the dangerous exchange. Lei Qingshu then assigned the sect master an additional duty. He would stay at the Xiao residence, protect the family, and teach Xiao Feng personally. Nuzhan accepted because refusing 5 holy maidens was not a realistic option. Xiao Feng reviewed how completely his life had changed since sunrise. He had awakened as a powerless disappointment facing a public rejection. Now 5 holy maidens wanted to marry him together. Their combined dowries contained wealth greater than many kingdoms. His father's damaged Danshin could finally be restored. He possessed pills that might unlock cultivation after 16 years of failure. He also held spirit marrow, a sacred cushion, a defensive lamp, a lightning fruit, an evolving sword. A transcendent grade technique now rested inside his clothing. The master of a major regional sect had been ordered to supervise his training. Despite every benefit, Xiao Feng still understood almost nothing. The 5 holy maidens prepared to leave for their secret search. Yuxia approached first and kissed Xiao Feng's forehead. She promised to return within several days carrying an important surprise. Zhao Lingxin marked his left cheek and told him to prepare for marriage. Wang Yue kissed the right cheek and rejected Zhao Lingxin's claim. Lin Wangqing lifted his chin and placed a kiss beneath his lower lip. Lei Qingshu studied the remaining space on his face with strategic seriousness. She aimed directly for his lips when she found every other obvious place occupied. The other 4 women grabbed her before the kiss could land. They allowed affection anywhere except the position each secretly wanted for herself. Lei Qingshu compromised by kissing Xiao Feng's nose. Then all 5 rose into the sky and vanished toward the heavenly Dragon Mountain range. Xiao Feng remained in the destroyed restaurant with 5 lipstick marks on his face. People who had ignored him earlier now treated him as the center of the northern territories. City Lord Xiao accepted the sudden respect with careful diplomacy. The remains of the failed engagement banquet became food for a new political gathering. Sect leaders, merchants, and nobles competed to express friendship with the Xiao family. Eventually, the guests carried the story into every street of Star Language City. News of 5 holy maidens fighting over a supposed waste began spreading beyond the region. Nuzhan followed the Xiao family home as their reluctant new protector. City Lord Xiao gave the sect master a comfortable guest courtyard. Later, Xiao Feng sat with both parents inside the main hall. For several minutes, none of them found words large enough for the morning. Xiao Feng finally asked whether their family belonged to a hidden ancient clan. 5 holy maidens would not normally chase the son of an ordinary city lord. His parents exchanged a brief look that carried more meaning than their answer. City Lord Xiao denied any connection powerful enough to explain the women. Lady Xiao reminded him that such forces did not treat imperial power as a simple game. City Lord Xiao insisted that the answer had to exist somewhere inside Xiao Feng himself. The young man reviewed his entire life in Star Language City. He had never traveled far enough to meet even one Supreme Holy Land disciple. Then the memory of the previous night returned with sudden force. He remembered the dream bead entering his forehead. He remembered joking that it should bring all 10 Supreme Holy Maidens into his dream. He remembered waking after a vast dream that disappeared from conscious memory. The women knew his parents, his engagement, and events nobody had explained. They behaved like wives who had shared countless years beside him. The only possible connection was the dream he could not remember. Xiao Feng began to suspect that the bead had fulfilled his joke literally. Perhaps all 10 holy maidens remembered the 1,000-year life that he had forgotten. If that theory was correct, 5 more women were still crossing the empire toward him. The artifact he had mocked as useless might be beyond every known divine treasure. Xiao Feng needed to test its power before another crisis arrived. He took the crouching bull art and decided to visit Nuzhan immediately. After he left, Lady Xiao quietly asked her husband about their hidden background. City Lord Xiao admitted that someone from their past might notice the holy maiden's arrival. He referred only to a mysterious man who had abandoned interest after his father's death. The damage to City Lord Xiao's Danshin and Xiao Feng's poor talent had made their branch seem worthless. 5 Supreme Holy Lands might change that dangerous calculation. Lady Xiao hoped the Holy Maiden's protection would discourage any move against the family. City Lord Xiao warned that the Holy Lands themselves might never approve the proposed marriages. Xiao Feng did not hear enough to understand them. He had already entered Nuzhan's courtyard with the manual in hand. The sect master concealed his annoyance behind a formal smile. To him, Xiao Feng remained a charity student protected by 5 terrifying women. Xiao Feng asked for a complete explanation of the crouching bull art. Niu Zhan invited him to sit and began describing the technique's foundation. Niu Zhan explained that the crouching bull art created internal energy with exceptional endurance. Part of that energy tempered the body and remained hidden inside the muscles. A warrior could detonate the stored reserve after exhausting normal power in battle. As the explanation deepened, his familiar lack of comprehension returned. Meridians, circulation paths, and energy transformations became meaningless noise. His eyelids grew heavy despite his determination to remain respectful. Xiao Feng fell asleep beside a martial venerable teaching his sect's most precious method. Niu Zhan stared at the sleeping student in offended disbelief. He had risked political disaster to provide a personal lecture, and Xiao Feng responded by snoring. Inside Xiao Feng's soul, the dream bead activated without revealing itself. It recorded every explanation Niu Zhan had delivered. Then it created a dream world built entirely around the crouching bull art. Within that world, Niu Zhan's voice became a clear law of the heavens. Ideas impossible to understand while awake became simple and complete. Xiao Feng began cultivating the technique under perfect dream conditions. 1 dream year passed, followed by 10, then 100. He repeated the same circulation until every meridian path became instinct. 500 years of training unfolded inside a nap lasting only 90 real minutes. Niu Zhan eventually returned and found Xiao Feng still sleeping in the same position. He tapped the young man's shoulder and asked whether the lesson should continue. Xiao Feng woke with an embarrassed smile and learned how long he had slept. The sect master forced himself not to express the full depth of his irritation. He had already explained enough material to support cultivation through the martial master realm. A talented disciple might need half a month to become a true warrior. Reaching martial master could still require many years of disciplined effort. Xiao Feng assumed his own terrible talent would make the process much slower. Before Niu Zhan could offer consolation, the surrounding spiritual energy erupted. Power rushed towards Xiao Feng from every direction like water through a broken dam. The sect master prepared to intervene before the influx destroyed his body. Then he sensed a stable breakthrough instead of uncontrolled collapse. Xiao Feng crossed from martial apprentice into yellow rank level 1. The energy did not slow. Yellow rank level 2 appeared almost immediately. Levels 3, 4, and 5 followed without pause. The breakthroughs continued through 6, 7, 8, and 9. Niu Zhan's expression changed from surprise to complete disbelief. Xiao Feng entered mystic rank level 1 while still sitting calmly. The spiritual current carried him through every mystic level. A second major barrier broke as he reached Earth rank. Level after level continued rising beneath the sect master's stunned gaze. The storm finally settled at Earth rank level 9. Xiao Feng had crossed 27 levels in less time than an ordinary lecture. A vast reserve of internal energy now moved through the body that had failed for 16 years. He opened his hands and felt genuine power answer for the first time. Niu Zhan stood motionless, unable to connect the result with the student who had been snoring. Xiao Feng asked whether the crouching bull art normally caused such rapid advancement. He had trained prodigies and watched gifted disciples break records. None had crossed 3 complete ranks during a nap. Xiao Feng tried to understand what the dream bead had done. He could not remember the 500 dream years directly. However, the perfect cultivation results had transferred into reality. The same artifact that connected 10 holy maidens could also transform lectures into centuries of practice. His talent had not improved. The dream bead had simply built a path around that weakness. Niu Zhan tested Xiao Feng's foundation and found it stable rather than artificially forced. Every level appeared as solid as if it had been cultivated over many years. That discovery frightened the sect master more than reckless pill advancement would have. He began explaining the next section of the technique with renewed seriousness. Xiao Feng listened carefully and immediately became lost again. Without sleep, the symbols and principles remained impossible for him to process. Unfortunately, the enormous breakthrough had filled him with energy. He could not become tired no matter how long he stared at the manual. The greatest weakness of the dream bead became obvious. It required genuine sleep before its training world could open. Xiao Feng decided to end the lesson and continue another time. Niu Zhan watched him leave with the expression of a man facing an unsolvable riddle. The young lord could not understand basic theory while awake, yet he had advanced 27 levels while unconscious. Xiao Feng carried the manual toward the family's martial arts pavilion. He wanted to test whether the dream bead could teach combat techniques as well as cultivation. Most were ordinary, and the strongest was only a high-grade extreme-tier sword art. An elderly guardian waited inside among the wooden shelves. Elder Xia had served the family since Xiao Feng's grandfather ruled the household. He carried the Xiao surname as an honor rather than by blood. City Lord Xiao treated him like a second father. Xiao Feng had always treated him with the respect owed to family. The old man welcomed the young lord and asked what had brought him there so urgently. Xiao Feng requested a martial technique suitable for his new level. Elder Xia assumed the long-awaited breakthrough had only reached yellow rank. He excitedly selected a simple Rush Thunder Fist manual. Xiao Feng explained that he had already reached Earth rank level 9. The word stopped Elder Xia completely. He seized Xiao Feng's wrist and sent energy through his meridians to verify the claim. When the result returned, tears filled the old guardian's eyes. The child he had watched struggle for 16 years had transformed within a single afternoon. Elder Xia wished Xiao Feng's grandfather had lived to witness the moment. The old man's joy touched Xiao Feng more deeply than public praise or priceless dowries. Xiao Feng requested the flowing light sword art, the best technique inside the pavilion. Then he asked Elder Xia to keep explaining even if he fell asleep. The guardian found the instructions strange but agreed without argument. Elder Xia opened the flowing light sword art and began explaining its central principle. The technique sacrificed everything for speed, striking before an enemy could form a defense. Xiao Feng listened with sincere effort until the familiar fog returned. His head lowered, his breathing deepened, and quiet snoring filled the pavilion. Elder Xia stared at the sleeping young master and nearly ended the lesson. He remembered the unusual instruction and forced himself to continue. The old guardian described every stance to a student drooling lightly on the table. Inside the dream, his voice became perfect instruction once again. Xiao Feng practiced the first slash until no wasted movement remained. He repeated the second stance across endless imaginary battlefields. Years became decades and decades became centuries. After 500 dream years, every transition felt as natural as breathing. Only 90 minutes passed in the martial arts pavilion. Xiao Feng woke while Elder Xia was still describing the final wrist rotation. The guardian warned that such an advanced art might exceed his current understanding. Xiao Feng quietly answered that he believed the lesson had already succeeded. Elder Xia assumed the young man was speaking from excitement rather than reality. No warrior mastered physical sword forms while sleeping in a chair. The dream bead transferred centuries of movement into Xiao Feng's muscles. Every angle, step, and breath arrived inside his awareness fully formed. He summarized the artifact's abilities in his own mind. It could connect people through shared dreams. It could convert spoken cultivation theory into centuries of internal practice. It could also transform martial instruction into perfect combat memory. Xiao Feng still remembered none of the dream training directly. He simply awakened with the benefits already rooted inside him. His terrible natural talent remained unchanged. Fortunately, talent mattered less when sleep could provide 500 years of repetition. To prove the result, Xiao Feng drew the evolving Kingshu sword. Elder Xia smiled gently and prepared to correct a beginner's awkward movement. Xiao Feng focused, and the flowing light sword art answered instantly. Silver light crossed the room before Elder Xia could blink. The sword stopped against the old guardian's automatic protective barrier. Its edge rested directly before his throat. Elder Xia's smile disappeared beneath pure astonishment. He recognized the family's greatest technique executed with impossible precision. Xiao Feng had not merely learned the flowing light sword art. He moved like a master who had refined it across an entire lifetime. The old guardian began laughing while tears ran down his face. For years, he had watched Xiao Feng train until his hands bled without gaining anything. Now the same boy stood before him carrying overwhelming potential. Elder Xia declared that nobody would ever again call the young lord a waste. Xiao Feng asked him to keep the strange learning method secret. The guardian agreed immediately and treated the request like a family oath. Xiao Feng sheathed the sword and left the pavilion with confidence he had never felt before. The warm moment lasted only several minutes. A violent shockwave struck the pavilion from the direction of the main residence. The sound of clashing weapons followed, mixed with desperate shouting. A family guard sprinted toward Xiao Feng with panic across his face. City Lord Xiao had ordered his son to leave Star Language City immediately. The guard explained that the entire Lu family was attacking the residence. Every Lu warrior had somehow gained strength far beyond the morning's level. The decision made no sense unless a greater power stood behind them. Xiao Feng sent internal energy into his legs and rushed toward the battle. The guard tried to stop him, still believing he remained a martial apprentice. Xiao Feng crossed the distance too quickly for the warning to follow. Metal rang across the courtyard as martial energy tore through walls and trees. The Kingshu sword appeared in his hand before he reached the main hall. Above the estate, Niu Zhan fought Cloud Mountain sect master Yin Shan. The man who had bowed and paid compensation that morning had returned as an enemy. On the ground, Lu Tianxiang battled both of Xiao Feng's parents at once. His power had increased enough to pressure them despite their combined attacks. Xiao family guards struggled against Lu warriors who had received similar boosts. The attackers moved with strength they could not have earned naturally in a few hours. At the center of the main hall stood Lu Shiyu. Her burned skin, frozen meridians, lightning wounds, and sword injuries had all been healed. Her cultivation had also returned to Earth rank level 1. She waited for Xiao Feng with a sword and a face consumed by revenge. Xiao Feng accused the Lu family of chasing death after surviving the Holy Maiden's judgment. Lu Shiyu answered that the earlier humiliation would be repaid with the entire Xiao family's blood. She treated the consequences of her own scheme as an unforgivable attack against her. Xiao Feng reminded her that 5 supreme holy lands had openly placed him under protection. Lu Shiyu smiled because she believed those women could no longer reach him. She revealed that every supreme holy land also possessed a holy son. Tradition expected each holy son to marry his corresponding holy maiden and rule beside her. The northern holy sons had learned that their intended partners were pursuing Xiao Feng. Their jealousy turned a private marriage crisis into a coordinated assassination. They intercepted the 5 holy maidens before sending support to Cloud Mountain sect. Power-enhancing pills strengthened the Lu family, while rare medicine restored Lu Shiyu. Yin Shan would occupy Niu Zhan, and the empowered attackers would destroy the Xiao household. Lu Shiyu had been promised Xiao Feng's treasures after completing the final execution. The plan assumed its target remained a defenseless martial apprentice. That assumption was the only mistake Xiao Feng needed. Lu Shiyu raised her sword and promised that killing him would be easier than crushing an ant. Xiao Feng stepped into the ruined doorway and allowed her to believe that for one final second. Lu Shiyu released a bright arc of sword energy across the shattered hall. The attack carried enough force to kill the powerless boy she remembered from mourning. Xiao Feng raised the Qingshu sword with calm hands. 500 dream years of flowing light sword art awakened inside every muscle. His blade crossed the incoming strike in a single silver flash. The collision burst outward and scattered broken wood across the courtyard. Lu Shiyu's weapon shattered at the center. The remaining force lifted her from the ground and threw her through the hall wall. She landed among stone fragments with blood running from her mouth. Disbelief replaced the revenge that had controlled her expression. Xiao Feng stepped through the broken doorway and revealed his current cultivation. He had reached Earth rank level 9. The words struck Lu Shiyu harder than the sword attack. That morning, she had stood at Earth rank level 1 and called herself the city's greatest genius. Xiao Feng had been unable to create internal energy at all. Now he stood 8 levels above her after only a few hours. Lu Shiyu refused to accept what her own body had already proven. She insisted that a 16-year-old waste could not transform so completely. Her hatred required Xiao Feng to remain beneath her forever. Without that belief, the public breakup became an act of self-destruction rather than triumph. She forced herself upright and attacked again. Xiao Feng moved the Qingshu sword with even less effort. Another streak of flowing light struck before Lu Shiyu completed her stance. She flew backward a second time and collapsed flat against the courtyard stones. This time her empty gaze remained fixed on the sky. Her body was injured, but her certainty had suffered the deeper wound. The person she had chosen to humiliate now possessed power she could not understand. Lu Tianxiang saw his daughter fall and tried to break away from Xiao Feng's parents. City Lord Xiao and Lady Xiao increased their attacks and blocked his path. City Lord Xiao laughed with 16 years of buried relief. He demanded to know who could still call his son a waste. The pride in his voice reached Xiao Feng across the battlefield. Lu Tianxiang claimed the breakthrough had to come from dangerous pills. He dismissed Xiao Feng's strength as unstable and artificial. City Lord Xiao answered with another strike instead of wasting words. Above them, Niu Zhan noticed Xiao Feng's sword technique and praised the unexpected skill. The sect master had taught cultivation, yet Xiao Feng now moved like an ancient swordsman. Yin Shan saw Lu Shiyu's failure and abandoned the original plan. He tried to pressure Niu Zhan through the authority of the 5 northern holy sons. Protecting Xiao Feng, he warned, meant opposing 5 future rulers of supreme holy lands. A mid-tier sect could not survive that kind of hostility. Yin Shan offered safety if Niu Zhan killed Xiao Feng himself. The crouching bull sect master briefly measured the impossible choices around him. 5 holy maidens had ordered him to protect the Xiao family. 5 holy sons had ordered the same family destroyed. Obeying either side could turn the other into a permanent enemy. Yin Shan expected fear to make the decision for him. Niu Zhan recognized the manipulation and refused. He accused Yin Shan of using the Lu family to avoid personal responsibility. Now that the first tool had failed, Yin Shan wanted another expendable weapon. Niu Zhan refused to become the next fool sacrifice between supreme holy lands. Yin Shan threatened to destroy the entire Crouching Bull sect. Then he signaled the hidden force waiting outside the estate. The Cloud Mountain Grand Elder landed upon the courtyard wall. 10 martial kings appeared beside him like vultures surrounding wounded prey. Their arrival shifted the battle from dangerous to nearly hopeless. Xiao family guards were already losing against the empowered Lu warriors. Niu Zhan remained occupied in the sky against Yin Shan. City Lord Xiao and Lady Xiao still faced Lu Tianxiang below. The Grand Elder and 10 kings were free to attack the center of the household. Both parents immediately abandoned their current positions and rushed toward Xiao Feng. Lady Xiao ordered her son to leave Star Language City. City Lord Xiao placed himself directly between Xiao Feng and the reinforcements. Neither parent asked whether escape would protect their own lives. They prepared to die so their son could survive. Xiao Feng refused to move. He had spent 16 years watching his parents protect him from every disappointment. He would not repay that love by abandoning them during the first true battle of his life. Xiao Feng declared that the Xiao family would face death together. Lu Shiyu recovered enough to lean against her father. She twisted the new revelation into another accusation. According to her, Xiao Feng had hidden his strength to trick her into ending the engagement. She imagined a conspiracy because admitting her own choices felt unbearable. Xiao Feng had possessed no cultivation that morning. His transformation had occurred only after her public betrayal. There had been no deception, only consequences arriving faster than anyone expected. He did not waste breath trying to convince someone determined to hate him. Instead, Xiao Feng looked beyond the walls and calculated the passing hours. The dream bead had drawn 10 holy maidens into one shared lifetime. The 5 northern women had arrived before noon because their holy lands were closer. The 5 southern women had started much farther away. Enough time had now passed for the first of them to approach Star Language City. Xiao Feng could not prove they were coming. Still, the pattern gave his family one narrow chance to survive. He tightened his grip on the Kingshu sword and prepared to buy every possible second. Yinshan ordered the attackers to kill the entire household. The Grand Elder raised one hand over the courtyard. Cloud Mountain energy gathered into an enormous translucent palm. It was the same technique Yuxia had blocked effortlessly at the banquet. Without a holy maiden present, the strike threatened to crush everyone below. Niu Zhan tried to break away from Yinshan. The Cloud Mountain sect master blocked him and forced the battle higher into the sky. The 10 martial kings spread outward to prevent escape. Xiao family guards formed a desperate ring around their city lord. Many were wounded, yet none abandoned their positions. Elder Xia emerged from the pavilion and added his power to the defense. His joy over Xiao Feng's breakthrough had lasted less than an evening. Now he stood ready to die beside the family he had served for decades. Lu Tianxiang watched from behind the attackers with renewed confidence. He believed the Holy Sons had guaranteed victory. The treasures from 5 dowries would soon belong to the Lu family. Lu Shiyu imagined taking the pills, spirit marrow, sacred cushion, lamp, fruit, and sword. Her greed mixed with revenge until she forgot how many powers she had provoked. Xiao Feng understood that wealth had made his family a target as quickly as it made them powerful. The dream bead had changed his fate, but every miracle carried new danger. He had gained strength without enough time to learn its limits. Earth rank level 9 could defeat Lu Shiyu. It could not overpower a heaven rank level 9 martial ancestor and 10 martial kings together. The flowing light sword art gave him speed, not invincibility. The Kingshu sword gave him a weapon, not another realm of cultivation. For the first time since his breakthrough, Xiao Feng saw the true distance still ahead. He accepted that truth without stepping back. City Lord Xiao told him to run one final time. Xiao Feng answered by standing shoulder to shoulder with his father. Lady Xiao moved to his other side and raised her weapon. The 3 members of the Xiao family faced the descending palm together. Niu Zhan roared from above and forced more power into his attacks against Yinshan. Elder Xia gathered every remaining thread of energy into a defensive stance. The family guards locked their formations despite trembling hands. The Grand Elder released the Cloud Mountain hand. The enormous palm fell with enough pressure to bend rooftops and split courtyard stones. Air compressed beneath it until breathing became painful. Xiao Feng lifted the Kingshu sword and focused on the fastest strike he could produce. He knew his attack could not stop the descending force. He intended to cut whatever fragment reached his parents after the impact. City Lord Xiao prepared to take the center of the blow. Lady Xiao shifted closer to shield her son's exposed side. Every member of the family chose someone else to protect. For one suspended instant, the entire battlefield seemed completely still. Then a woman's voice exploded across Star Language City. She demanded to know who dared touch her husband. The declaration carried a dominating saber intent from beyond the horizon. That invisible blade swept over the estate and forced every fighter to freeze. The falling Cloud Mountain hand trembled beneath the pressure. Yinshan's expression changed before he could identify the newcomer. The Grand Elder looked upward with fear replacing his confidence. The 10 martial kings felt their weapons become suddenly insignificant. Lu Tianxiang's certainty disappeared in the same moment. Lu Shiyu stared toward the sky as the nightmare of the banquet returned. Another woman had arrived calling Xiao Feng her husband. This aura did not belong to any of the 5 northern holy maidens. The saber intent came from the direction of the southern territories. Xiao Feng understood that his theory about the shared dream had been correct. At least one southern holy maiden had crossed the empire in time. Her presence interrupted the killing strike at the exact moment the Xiao family needed salvation. Xiao Feng allowed himself one breath of relief. He did not lower his sword or leave his parents' side. The enemy remained present, and the battle had not yet been resolved. But the balance that had seemed hopeless was changing again. Yin Shan had trusted the Holy Son's jealousy more than the Holy Maiden's devotion. The Lu family had trusted borrowed strength more than gratitude or judgment. Both groups had mistaken Xiao Feng for an isolated target. The dream bead had connected him to forces capable of crossing continents for his sake. Only one day earlier, Xiao Feng could not generate the smallest spark of internal energy. That morning, the city watched him lose an engagement and every fragment of public respect. By afternoon, he had crossed 27 levels and mastered 5 centuries of sword practice. His father had gained hope of restoring the Danshan sacrificed 10 years earlier. His mother had gained 5 future daughters-in-law and more happiness than caution. His enemies had gained every warning possible and ignored each one. The dream bead remained mysterious, dangerous, and far more powerful than Xiao Feng understood. It had given him love he could not remember and strength he had never believed possible. It had also drawn holy sons, sect masters, and ambitious families into the path of his awakening. Xiao Feng's peaceful life as Star Language City's harmless waste had ended forever. He looked toward the approaching saber light and finally accepted that the forgotten dream was real. The first Southern Holy Maiden had arrived, and the Xiao family no longer faced destruction alone.